Next up, our World Cup coverage is brought to you now by Oakland County FC. This year, celebrating 10 years of Bleeding Purple with summer soccer in Southeast Michigan in 2026. Should I say the 4-0 for the first time? Oakland County FC has tickets available on the website, and check out the Instagram page for tons of great content up to the minute. So in that World Cup warm-up game over the weekend, we saw what might be the future of international soccer, maybe soccer in general, coaching breaks halfway through each period, kind of under the guise of a hydration break. We saw American coach Mauricio Pochettino doing something we don't normally see in the World's game, do we, Jason?
We do not. Here's a little video evidence of what went down during the hydration break last night. This is grabbed from Twitter. It's got Turkish audio, so I'm not going to bring up the audio. And Pochettino, you can hear Pochettino talking to his team, and clearly, look, as the Turkish audio uses the word. The only thing I understood from all the Turkish audio was basketball, because this looks like something that would happen during a timeout in a basketball game, right? It is very much evocative of, we've got this moment that the game has stopped. We're bringing everybody together so I can show you. All right. The reason I didn't put the audio is I'm not sure about the copyright elements, but here I will play it again and bring up the audio just a little bit so everybody can hear it, Rob. Go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say low-key, kudos to the cameraman for getting in the mix. You notice how the kind of sideline staff non-confrontationally start getting in the way of the cameraman to box him out, but this is a good look.
Çünkü genelde basketbolda gördüğümüz bir görüntü bu. Molalarda gördüğümüz bir görüntü ama su molaları...
I was watching on Telemundo, all right? Telemundo, shut up. It was Andres Cantor, and I don't know who he was working with because I was doing 7 other things, but they did not talk during that clip. So you heard the Turkish announcer, broadcaster. Obviously, I'm assuming Turkey is broadcasting this game because the United States is in Turkey's group. So Turkey. You heard the Turkish broadcaster talking over this and mentioning that it looks like a basketball game. The Spanish language broadcasting in the United States did not talk over it. I don't know what TNT did or TBS or whoever did, HBO Max. I don't know what they did. But you can hear Pochettino telling this guy, that guy, hey, we should do that. You go back and listen to it if you want to try to determine what he's talking about here, because he's obviously looking at something and telling his players, in this moment, we should do this. This is the pass. This is the thing we should be doing. Now, as you said, what's unclear here, Rob, is whether this is allowed, right? Now, first, the attitude of Mauricio Pochettino. He said this after the game. I think it's very helpful for the players to see actions. It's not only to tell you what you want them to improve or what they need to do. When they see the image, it's really important now. We'll see now in the World Cup if they allow that and how are you going to do that. He's also on the record as saying he doesn't like the hydration breaks, right? He's a traditionalist in the sense that he doesn't like the idea of breaking up the game. I'm in that boat too, except for the fact that I care about the health of the players, Rob. So I don't know where you fall on the idea of stopping, because it's like 22 minutes in the game. All of a sudden we're like, oh, we're stopping the game? It's such a weird thing when you're not used to that.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it was understandable. Like, if the temperature is extremely hot for players to hydrate for safety reasons and to prevent cramping and other stoppages that pop up when you're in those hot conditions. But now that it's a mandated thing, and whether it could be a 50-degree game and they're going to take a water break at the 22-minute mark and then halfway through the second half, which is basically, a commercial break in disguise. But the fact that they implemented that at the highest level of the game during the World Cup without firm parameters on this, the team itself didn't know if it's going to be permitted during the World Cup. And then so will they add something to their guidelines last minute? And they just haven't disseminated that information to the teams. I am a little bit, I guess we talked about it before the show. Perhaps I'm a little bit more of a purist that if this was actually about purely hydration, that the players should maybe not be permitted to come to the sidelines, maybe go to the center circle as an example and have the team trainers run water out to them rather than come over to the side. That would kind of like draw the line between, is this a coaching break? Is this a TV timeout? Is this, NBA on TNT sort of thing where the coaches are, giving new instructions and whatnot? I mean, on the local game that I worked this weekend, Obviously, it wasn't mandated, but it was a hot day, so they had the water break. And both teams clearly made tactical changes with the hydration break over by the coach.
No, and this has been a thing. Like you go back to the March friendlies against Belgium and Portugal, and the U.S. was better in the first part of the game, coming out of the blocks, and then the hydration break happened,
There was a
and
change.
clearly Belgium and Portugal made adjustments, and the game shifted a bit. That did not happen against Senegal on the same dramatic level. Obviously, again, they give up a late goal just before halftime. They kind of upend some momentum. It wasn't as dramatic, but there was that. Here is the clip or the little segment from Henry Bushnell's piece at The Athletic that I grabbed this morning. FIFA's published rules don't clarify if laptops can be used to show tactical clips during the breaks or if players are allowed to leave the field of play. Laptops and tablets are allowed on the sideline in general, but FIFA's tournament regulations, but the exact guardrails around hydration breaks are unknown. The Athletic contacted spokespeople for the global soccer governing body, but had not received a response as of Sunday night. So FIFA did, I don't know that Pochettino is like, is he creating this out of no one else has done this and he's the first one to use the laptop and then there's going to have to be a response from FIFA? Again, there's a tension in my brain or around my traditional sense of what the game should be like, which is flow through for 45 minutes. Obviously there are going to be stoppages, but they're not like this. And that thing about, okay, Pochettino is only doing what the rules allow. If the rules don't say you can't pull out a laptop and illustrate something for your team, then why wouldn't you do it? Like, it's ridiculous not to try this if you don't think there are any rules against it.
Yeah, and it's wild that there isn't cut and dry, black and white, what is or isn't allowed when they put a new rule essentially and breaking the game up into quarters and allowing for there to be possible commercial breaks. And for Americans especially who have come into the game in the last 15, 20 years when it's been more available, early 10 even, is that 45 minutes without a commercial break when you're watching entertainment is absolute gold. And there aren't very many places in our entertainment sphere that you can go 45 minutes without a commercial break. But I wanted to bring, so there's different examples in other places talking about from the Ultras, get into the chat a little bit, that in the Swiss-Jordan game, the Swiss came out of the hydration break, completely different game plan and scored 30 seconds after the break. Like I said, I saw in the local game the tactics changing from long ball to short combination passes, and it has changed. And so even if it isn't a declared quarters tactically, and then now maybe literally, there could be quarters and changes of how play develops, whether it's official or not.
I don't think I saw. I mean, this is how my brain works. I have like a myopia. I was watching on Telemundo, and I don't remember seeing an ad. Maybe an ad was playing split screen because PSU to DCU is saying that that's what HBO Max, which is TBS, TNT, wherever you watched it, that's what they did. I was so focused on again the image of Pochettino talking to his team that I didn't notice if there was an ad running. Right, this would have been a clean version of the same feed. All you do see the Turkish station's logo there in the corner. So, but that would have been a clean version of that feed. And everybody had it, by the way, because I saw some people on Blue Sky saying, good job by the TNT cameras to get into the huddle and see what was going on. And it's like, no. Telemundo had that. Obviously, the Turkish broadcast had it as well. So this was like a
feed.
Yeah, world feed. Apparently, there was a world feed for this friendly or something akin to that, and everybody did this. You said, it was interesting that somebody pushed away the camera. I think about basketball, and basketball is not my sport. Right? I'm not a big basketball guy, but every time when I do check in on basketball, I think the argument would be that a camera in the huddle is part of the entertainment package, right? It's part of selling the game. Now, again, as a traditionalist when it comes to soccer, I don't love the idea of stopping the game at all for hydration break or otherwise. And I don't know if I love the idea of the tactics being changed at that level with a stoppage rather than a coach waving. You'll see a coach making numbers and waving and giving instruction to players closest to him so they can be passed along. To me, that feels more like the sport I love. But again, until there is a rule placed in the book by FIFA around this is going to happen.
So just to kind of like open up the dialogue to viewers and commenters, are we being a little bit curmudgeonly and trying to stick to the traditions of how a 45-minute half plays out, or does it make you more interested in a tactical sense? If you're a tactics nerd or anything like that, does this excite you that you might see the game shift in the middle of a half like it hasn't before? Like, is that an interesting twist on this? And we're just kind of like stuck in what we've watched until this point. I mean, it certainly like helps teams if they spot a weakness and actually gives them an opportunity to accelerate that. Usually those sort of instructions and changes always have come at halftime. So, you know, there's almost like 4 chapters, which team can analyze the weakness and shift accordingly. Perhaps that's like kind of opens up a new nerddom. I mean, we've seen tactics coaches, or actually specifically set piece coaches, be introduced to the game, like with the long throws coming in, and then different tactics. Like Arsenal did a lot more with corner kick routines and stuff. Are we going to see the rise of like the tactical helper? Jurgen Klopp was famous for having some very shrewd eyes in the sky and adjusting while they were at their prime, and they were kings of adjusting at halftime. But now you could do it after 20 minutes rather than waiting till 45 in. Just, I guess that we'll see how it all plays out, and continue the conversation, guys, in the comments after the show or as we go. And if anyone has any takes on that, does that excite you that there's going to be more tactics in the game? And then we shall see how if FIFA implements any guidelines on the laptops as things go. But Mauricio Pochettino, a game changer maybe with the basketball coaching break.